the scariest part of being in a cult? I grew up in a cult where children who scored too high on monthly IQ tests were lobotomized to preserve the social balance, because smart kids grew up to question the community leaders and their divine revelations. My parents joined an intentional community when I was 3, selling everything to buy into this utopia, where Brother Gabriel promised enlightenment through simplicity. He was this creepy 60-year-old who claimed God spoke directly to him, but only when teenage girls gave him private massages. His inner circle of drooling devotees had all undergone divine simplification, which I didn't understand until I was old enough to notice the scars on their foreheads and their empty smiles. Mom thought their peacefulness was spiritual transcendence. She didn't realize their frontal lobes had been scrambled with an ice pick to keep them from ever questioning Brother Gabriel's increasingly insane revelations. When I was 10, it was time for me to start partaking in the mandatory monthly devil checks that Brother Gabriel required for all kids. He explained to my parents that God had revealed to him that intelligence above 120 was actually Satan trying to corrupt young minds with dangerous questions. Any child who scored too high would receive divine simplification to return them to a state of holy innocence. He showed us videos of the procedure, an ice pick through the eye socket, while calling it a blessing. Smart children grow into doubters, he said, staring right at me. And doubt is the enemy of paradise. My first test was next week. I learned fast that the secret to survival was failing on purpose, but Brother Gabriel's tests were designed to trap smart kids with questions that changed based on previous answers, making it impossible to consistently play dumb. I watched my friend Lily try to fail and accidentally reveal her intelligence through the pattern of her wrong answers. 2 days later, she came back from the medical building with bandages over her eyes and a vocabulary of about 50 words. She smiled constantly now and clapped when Brother Gabriel spoke like a trained seal. The parents helped enforce it. They'd brag about their children's low scores like they were achievements. Hazel only scored 85 this month, praise God, my mom would say, not knowing I'd spent hours calculating exactly which answers to miss. Kids who scored between 90 to 110 were safe. Below 90 raised suspicions of cheating. Above 110 put you on the watch list. Above 120 meant surgery within the week. Brother Gabriel made the smart kids wear red ribbons before their procedures so everyone could pray for their healing. I'll never forget watching Oliver, who loved astronomy and could name every constellation, walking around with that red ribbon while his parents prepared his celebration dinner for after his lobotomy. He kept trying to tell people about the stars, but nobody would listen because he was already marked. After his procedure, he couldn't even remember what stars were. His parents threw a party where he sat in the corner eating cake with his hands, drooling and giggling at nothing. I couldn't keep faking scores forever, so I started studying Brother Gabriel instead of hiding from him. I snuck into his office and found his real psychiatric files from before he started the cult. Turns out he'd been a failed neurosurgeon who lost his license for performing unauthorized lobotomies on patients who questioned his methods. But more interesting were his financial records showing he was embezzling millions while keeping us in poverty. I photographed everything, then did something crazy. During the next community meeting, I raised my hand and asked why God needed Brother Gabriel to have 3 Ferraris when we weren't allowed cars. The room went silent. I kept going, asking why God's revelations always seemed to benefit Brother Gabriel's bank account. His face turned purple as parents gasped at my blasphemy. I knew I was taking a huge risk. If enough people were outraged, maybe we could turn against Brother Gabriel together. But if they trusted him over me, I was signing my own lobotomy order. Brother Gabriel immediately declared me possessed by the demon of supreme intelligence and scheduled an emergency procedure for that night. And people did stand up and start asking questions. But to my horror, it was only the other children while the adults kept trusting their leader. The kids asked, why did God want us poor? Why did the medical building smell like death? He ordered all children under 16 locked in the education center while parents gathered for an emergency revelation. I heard him through the walls declaring that Satan had infected multiple children and God demanded a mass purification. 37 kids were marked for lobotomies, including every child who'd even looked curious during my questions. Parents were sobbing but agreeing, promising to deliver their children by morning. Some kids tried to run, but the guards caught them at the gates. I could hear drills being sterilized in the medical building, preparing for an assembly line of brain destruction. But Oliver's older sister Harper, who'd escaped years ago, had been monitoring the compound. When she saw dozens of children marked for surgery, she finally had enough evidence to act. The FBI raided at dawn just as parents were dragging us to the medical building. Brother Gabriel tried to claim religious freedom until agents discovered the bodies of 12 kids who died from botched lobotomies buried behind the medical building. He got life in prison. My parents still insist I robbed them of paradise by thinking too much.